This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Honda. Introducing the all-new, all-terrain Honda Passport Trail Sport, the most off-road capable Honda Passport Honda has ever dreamt up. The Passport features increased ground clearance, roof rails on all trims, and available specially developed all-terrain tires. And you'll stay comfortable with Tri-Zone climate control and available features like heated and ventilated front seats and a panoramic moonroof. Learn more at honda.com/passport.
Elevate your home and linen care routine with Rowenta steam stations. Stubborn wrinkles? Delicate fabrics? With Rowenta, consider it done. Our steam stations deliver professional quality results in a fraction of the time of a regular iron. High-powered steam output, lightweight, portable design. Visit RowentaUSA.com today and experience the difference.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
The Rams traded up and selected defensive tackle Ty Hamilton in the 5th round. What is his role going to be with the Rams? Well, we'll talk about that next on this Round 5 Draft Reaction episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, Rams Nation? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian, riding solo for this reaction episode. And if you're on YouTube, like this video, share this channel, subscribe to the channel. And if you're on the podcast only side of things, share this podcast with all your fellow Rams and football fans out there. Either way, I very much appreciate it. We on this channel very much appreciated. But let's get right into it, Rams Nation. The Rams trade up for another player and select defensive tackle Ty Hamilton in the 5th round, 148th overall. And what were those trade details? Well, let's pull up those details now. As they trade with the Chicago Bears, they send over a 6th round pick, 195 overall, and they also send the Bears next year's 2026 round 4 selection, whatever that ends up being. And the Rams receive that 5th round, 148th overall pick, which they use to select Ohio State defensive tackle Ty Hamilton. Ty Hamilton was an honorable mention for all Big Ten, as he played some important football that led to an eventual national championship run for the Buckeyes. His stats were 51 tackles in total and 3.5 sacks. So, at face value with this player here, Rams Nation, you can say, who the heck is this guy? As I get it. If you haven't been paying attention to every single player on the Buckeyes that aren't some big name skilled position player or a running back, receiver, quarterback, corner, safety, defensive end, edge rusher, I get it. Some of these D tackle, D lineman guy might escape you. So within the last couple of weeks, I was going through rankings of players and just kind of getting a feel for this draft class as a whole. I watched film on this guy, so I'm going to describe to you how I felt about him overall. And with him here, I had a 5th round grade on him. So I think the value here was correct. Yes, was it a trade up? Of course, but the Rams really felt strongly about him, and I think it's important to go through what his relative athletic score, his RAS, was. And let's pull that up before I get into all the film study notes that I took down on him. So, from Kent Lee Plate. Ty Hamilton was drafted in round 5, pick 148 in the 2025 draft class. He scored a 9.22 RAS, relative athletic score, out of a possible 10. This ranked 160 out of 2,033 defensive tackles whose relative athletic scores have been inputted from 1987 up until this recent 2025 draft class. And it's pretty dang incredible. And if you're on YouTube, you can see all his measurables and his combine results and pro day results and et cetera, et cetera. So his height and weight were considered okay. His bench press was considered elite to great. Vertical and broad jump were considered great. His 10-yard split, his 20-yard split, and his overall 40-yard dash were considered elite for the defensive tackle position and his height and weight. And then his shuttle and 3-cone were considered okay. So this dude right here, being borderline 300 pounds and, 6'2"-ish or so, is considered, just objectively here, a freak athlete. And on tape, for me, let's pull up my notes and let's get my overall thoughts on him. So let's start with here on my notes. Let's talk about the run defense. So shedding blocks, I thought he was pretty dang good on that. So when an offensive tackle, a guard, a center, or any blockers has him, starting to lock him up and start to block him, he's really good about shedding it, right? Getting them off of him to be able to possibly make a tackle, make the tackle, get a sack, create havoc. I think he's pretty dang good at that. In terms of his overall play recognition, right? Saying, okay, hey, I know the way this guard and this center are attacking me, or this tackle and tight end, et cetera, coming at me. Hey, am I able to decipher that quickly and then make the appropriate move or moves to be able to make a play or do my job correctly? I think he was pretty good at that. I wouldn't say it was over like, man, he read that play so well, or oh my gosh, I can't believe he fooled the D tackle the offensive tackle, the guard, and was able to, beat him to that lineman specific job. I thought it was good, inconsistent. So I would say maybe I lean towards about above average on that, if that makes sense. His tackling overall is about average. There's times where I'm thinking, I feel like he should have got him there, but maybe he tripped him up, or he caused the ball carrier to go elsewhere when after he might have bounced off his individual tackle. So I thought that was about average. In terms of him taking on double teams, he was not good at that at all. He would get completely blocked, never beat double teams, never stood his ground, right? I mean, obviously, beating double teams is incredibly difficult, but when he would get double teamed, it was over. He was not making a play or not breaking through at all. In terms of his quote-unquote anchor meaning, when you have to stand your ground and not get bulldozed or not get pushed around, can you stay firm, hold your ground, have a good anchor, and being able to have a stalemate at minimum with opposing blockers? I didn't think he was very good at that. That's something that can be taught. He can get proper technique, maybe even get a little bit stronger in his lower body, overall, and core, and all these things I think could be coached up. He can get, stronger as a young man football player, and I think that can get some improvement for sure. Now, in terms of his pass rush ability, I thought his hand usage, right? Being able to control how offensive linemen are trying to attack you and being able to counter that with hand movement, right? So let's just say you get blocked and you say, hey, I have tons of moves, right? I can chop block. I can rip. I can attack with my own two hands and rip and pull. There's different names for it, but all that stuff I thought was below average. He really didn't do much of it. And when he did, I think he needs some coaching up on that, and I think that will happen.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV Insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Bring on your business challenges, the complex ones, the ones that seem to change every day, the ones that are so nuanced no one else could possibly understand them. Bring them all on. Key has a team of banking experts specialized in your industry, always ready to take your call and offer trusted solutions. And we go even further, staying ahead of trends so that you have answers before you even knew you needed them. Bring on your business challenges. Key Bank opens doors. Learn more at key.com/B2B.
When you're separating from the military, no one tells you how hard it can be to get your civilian life up to speed. But with VA benefits, it doesn't have to be. From the VA home loan requiring no down payment, to the GI Bill covering tuition, books, and cost of living, to VA healthcare offering top-ranked, low-cost care designed specifically for veterans. All the support you need is at VA. I'm here telling every veteran because I wish someone had told me. Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
Not all veterans are eligible for the type or amount of benefits mentioned here.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Business. How can you free up your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business empowers leaders to not only streamline purchasing, but better support their teams so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more about the technology, insights, and support available at amazonbusiness.com.
In terms of the moveset overall with the hands and the moveset of like, hey, does he have a good spin move? Does he have a good swim move? Does he have a good bull rush and etc.? I thought his moveset overall was not very good. He didn't have a lot of moves, but that could be coached up, and I think that definitely will. In terms of his quickness and, his bend maybe, and I guess counters to offensive linemen, being able to hit him and what is he going to do after that. I thought all of that was pretty average, but those things can be coached up for sure. In terms of his overall power bull rushing, there was times it looked really good, but times where it looked like maybe he was a little tired. Being a D lineman is not easy. You're in the trenches, the trench warfare stuff. It's difficult. I get it. But I think that could be, coached up with technique. And then obviously he can get into better shape, grow stronger as, yes, he's still a young man, and those things could be acquired through coaching and just weight room and conditioning, et cetera, et cetera. In terms of his overall pursuit of a quarterback or any pass rush situation, I thought it was average, right? In terms of his overall speed and all that, what his RAS score and all his combine pro day stuff say, he did not play that fast to me on film. But those things can be, coached up, and again, he could get stronger and faster and all that. So that is what I saw on film, which led me to this 5th round grade, which is, hey, where he went. But again, what are the things that I liked on him? Yes, his anchor needs work, but there are times that it looked good. But it's inconsistent, but that can be coached up, right? And yes, he does get moved around, but the effort is there. There's no doubt about it. This dude has a high motor. And yes, he may get blocked, but then the play is still extended. He'll definitely fight, and try to get that ball carrier and or quarterback. So he is good, though, I will say, and I saw this at times, and this is where coaching will come in. Let's just say sometimes he will be in that stalemate with an offensive lineman. There are times where I did see him do a fantastic job beating that, using his hands, and being able to kind of guide the lineman. Sometimes I saw this where he'd be like, okay, I'm not winning it and beating it, but I'm going to use you, lineman, who I'm locked up with, and I'm going to steer you. I'm going to try to direct you to screw up this play. And I did see that a couple times. I was like, ooh, that was pretty damn impressive. So I did like that. And overall, I think this guy is a freak athlete who flashes really good stuff, but is very inconsistent. So I think what the Rams defensive coaching staff, what Sean McVay, Les Snead, and all of the Rams leadership in that front office and scouting department see is that someone who contributed and started for a national championship team who is a quote-unquote freak athlete based on all his combine pro day measurables. And they're saying, okay, if we can coach him up, we think this guy can be a really good contributor, and we'll see what his ceiling could be. But based on all his athletic ability, his ceiling potentially could be very, very high, and this guy could turn into a really good defensive tackle. And I think that's what the Rams are thinking here. And I don't hate it. Again, I had a 5th-round grade on them. Yes, they traded up and they gave up a 4th, but again, they're really banking on the potential of this player, in my opinion. And then that's all this is, everyone, in day 3 picks, right? Rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yes, the Rams do a fantastic job of finding future good players and starters. And I think they're hoping that they can develop him into a good future Ram, a good player, maybe a potential starter. And I think this dude, in terms of what his role would be immediately, let me pull up this if you're tuning in here on YouTube. This is a little graphic showing what a 3-4 defense looks like. And that is what the Rams run. We run our base defense outside of all the other different packages that we do. The base of it is a 3-4 defense. And what is that real quick? That is 3 defensive tackles, a nose tackle, 2 quote-unquote defensive ends, but they are D tackles. And then you have 4 linebackers, 2 outside linebackers who stand up and that are next to the defensive tackles on the line of scrimmage. And then you have 2 inside linebackers, 2 corners, and 2 safeties. So Ty Hamilton, I believe, has the ability to play all 3 spots on that defensive line. He can play nose tackle, which is what Poona Ford is going to play, and we'll see Tyler Davis in his second year, I believe, play some more on that spot. He can play quote-unquote defensive end, defensive tackle, like Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk do. I think he has that versatility, as he did play along the line there at Ohio State at all those different spots. And Ohio State is very pro-style defense with their schematics and how they run it. So I think he can definitely play all those spots, but it'll be up to him. It'll be up to this coaching staff to get this athletic, super freak nature out of him to come out and perform on the field as consistently as possible. But I think, hey, we'll see what happens. This defensive line as a whole has got some players that contributed and played good, right? Obviously, Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk were standouts. Poona Ford, one of the big free agent signings, who is a nose tackle who could pass rush, very similar to what Greg Gaines did for us in that Super Bowl season. He's very good. Obviously, those will be the 3 main guys. Then you have Lowell Murchison. You have Tyler Davis, and you have others. I'm just blanking on their names at the moment. Apologies. And all those guys have contributed and have played good football. So can Ty Hamilton crack that? The Rams are banking on that by trading up, and they're thinking, hey, again, our coaching, the Rams culture, him being around other good defensive tackles in this Rams D-line room, we'll get it out of him, and we think we got a damn good player that we stole in the 5th round. I think that's what the Rams are believing here for sure. But overall, again, I don't believe this is a reach. I don't believe that they, overdrafted him in the 5th round. Again, I had a 5th round grade based on everything I laid out to you guys and what I saw with my own 2 eyes watching film. But I do understand, the sentiment of like, hey, giving up that future 4th round pick might have been a little heavy. But again, if he ends up being a good player who makes a big tackle, makes a big sack, makes a big run stop in a very important primetime game, divisional game, a playoff game, then all is well, right, Rams Nation? That's what it comes down to. What does he do in the field? What does he do in key moments? And if he performs well, then so be it. F them picks, right? As they did with the running back Hunter, and as they're doing right here with defensive tackle Ty Hamilton. But Rams Nation, let me know in the comment section on YouTube. Let me know in the comment section on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere else you get your podcast. How do you feel about Hamilton being selected by the Rams? Do you think it was worth it, trading up and giving away a future 4th round pick? Do you believe that he could and will hit his potential with him being this freak athlete, according to the RAS score, him being, again, in the top 200 in the last 30 plus years? I mean, really phenomenal. Do you think he will get playing time, a significant amount? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section, and I very much appreciate it, and I enjoy reading those comments. But again, real quick, Rams trade up for defensive tackle Ty Hamilton in the 5th round, 148th overall. But that'll do it here, Rams Nation, on this 5th round reaction episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. But never forget, baby, go Rams.
This episode is brought to you by Principles. Are there limits to the U.S. government's debt growth? What will happen if the debts are not curtailed? What should policymakers or investors do? Those are urgent questions that legendary investor and New York Times bestselling author Ray Dalio addresses in his new book, How Countries Go Broke: The Big Cycle. The book comes out in June and is available for pre-order today, wherever books are sold.